they're only wonderful and exciting and awesome because they're not constant. If you constantly had to watch the same movie all day long for a year, that would be hell. If you had to replay the same video game, if there was only one video game in the universe and you had to replay it over and over and over again, let's imagine that the only video game that existed because some devil pushed that red button was the original Mario game. Super Mario Bros. On the NES. You know that one? The classic one. So let's say that, after that game was invented by the designers at Nintendo, and then, they had a button and they said, okay, this is the only video game that's ever going to exist. We're just going to freeze it like this. We don't want other video games to compete with us. We're going to have a monopoly on video games, and every video game must be a Mario game, and it's going to be this exact Mario game. We're not even going to add any more new levels. We're just going to keep printing this game over and over again on every computer and game system. This would be terrible. It would destroy the diversity and the flowering and the creativity of the entire domain of video games that you love if you're a gamer. Same for movies, same for books, same for everything. You see, so from the big picture perspective, what God is trying to do is God is trying to maximize the creative diversity of life. And it can't do that when one species tries to gain a monopoly over all of life, which is one of the problems that the human species is doing right now, is we're overcrowding the planet to the point where we're killing off species by the hundreds and by the thousands. And this situation can't last. See? Humans can't just be so selfish that we occupy the entire Earth and populate it only with humans. See? After a certain point of doing that, we would actually start to see the detrimental effects of it, which of course we're already starting to see. Something is lost by losing the diversity of life. This notion of diversity is a very profound existential component of reality. One that many people who are anti-diversity don't understand and don't appreciate. Especially ethnocentric people who really love their one culture or their one race, like that sort of white supremacist philosophy of like, well, the white race is a superior one and we want to just like purify the nation of any brown people and black people and weird people and whatever. We just want it to be just like pure white Europeanness, the sort of Hitler mentality. You see? That's devilry. Literally, that's devilry. And why was the result of Hitler's philosophy the sort of destruction and evil that we saw? Precisely because his agenda was to freeze that sort of white Aryan identity that he glorified. To freeze that and to promote that sort of philosophy around the world. But it couldn't have worked. You see, it couldn't have worked. There was no way that Hitler could have sustained that. Even if Hitler could have won World War II, maybe, let's say, the Germans invented a nuclear bomb before others did, and they had so much military power that they could have just like dominated Europe and even America and so forth, it still couldn't have lasted. Eventually, it would have had to collapse from within. Because no monopoly can be maintained. No racial monopoly, no species monopoly, no monopoly of any kind. Because the nature of reality is impermanence. Your own life itself. The reason your life is exciting and juicy and fresh is because it's short. And you realize that you got to make good use of your time. If you were going to live forever, your life would get very boring and stale, and it would quickly devolve. See, you wouldn't even know what to do with immortality if you got it. It would make you such a devil. A kiss, for example, is made so much better by the impermanence of it. You don't want a kiss that lasts forever. Short kiss. Short kiss that leaves you wanting more. That's really what you want. You want to be teased by life. You don't really want all of your desires satisfied. You think you do, but really you don't. You want to be teased, so there's always something over the horizon. The next thing to look forward to. Because you only really appreciate differences. You only really appreciate things when they're gone. You appreciate not having a thing and then getting it and then losing it. Like you're poor, then you earn a lot of money, and then you lose that money, and you can appreciate that whole cycle. Because when you go from being broke to having some money, it's like a huge relief, and it's so nice and it's so wonderful. But then if you bask in that wealth for too long, it corrupts you. It turns you into a devil. It makes you complacent and lazy, and you don't work hard anymore. You're not creative anymore. So it's nice that you gain your money, but then you lose some of that money so that you have to work again. You have to be creative again. You have to start a new business. You have to, you have to get off your ass. Otherwise, you're going to turn into some creature like Jabba the Hutt who just sits around and stews in his own wealth and in his own crapulence, in his own obesity and all that, in his own luxury. See, and then it actually makes him evil. So train yourself to appreciate the beauty of loss. This is the cycle of life. The death of one thing creates room for the life of something else. The only reason you're able to be alive right now is because all the other humans and animals who lived generations before you had died. If they hadn't died, you couldn't be here to be alive. The loss of a beautiful thing only underscores how beautiful that thing was.